Alright, Shalom, Kalalal, Yahweh Ba'Shem El Shai. Just want to give all praises, glory, and honor due unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah HaKwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone of GMS that do rule well and that do teach well and that have taught me this truth. To you I say Shalom, and Shalom unto the hopeful elect. So today we're going to look at Revelation 11 and 4. But we'll start off at verse 3, but we're going to focus on Revelation 11 and 4. So we're going to prove who the two olive trees and the two candlesticks are in the scriptures. We're going to go into some precepts to figure that out. So it says, Revelation chapter 11 verse 3, and I will give power unto my two witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. And that equals to 1,260 days, which is 3.5 years, and that also represents 350 years of slavery. Hardcore slavery that our people have served over here in America. Now, when you go into verse 2, it says 40 and 2 months. That's the exact same thing that it's talking about. 1,260 days. Just want to make that clear. It's the same thing. They're synonymous. Now, if you want to get into the history about the 350 years, I suggest you read Revelation chapter 12 verse 6 to 14. It talks about how we fled into the wilderness of Africa after the fall of Jerusalem during the time of 70 AD. And that's specifically going into the Roman persecution. Right, that's the Roman persecution. And we went in Africa. The Lord, He kept us there for a period of time, and then He rose those devils up to come over to the west coast of Africa and capture us and bring us over to the New World, and that's where we served slavery for 350 years. Now, you would have to go into the dates to figure that out. So the first recorded slaves to come over to the New World would be from the time of 1619 to 1620, and I believe that was Plymouth Rock, Virginia. That's where the first slaves were, and that's where the 350 years started. That's the time period. That's when it started, and then it stopped until 1969 to 1970. And guess what? During that time of 1969 to 1970, that's when the truth started to come out. Because that's when you had Elder Abba Bibbins, who is, in the spirit, if you could see it, is Elijah the prophet. And when you go into certain precepts and scriptures in the Bible, it says that, especially like Malachi, the 4th chapter, it talks about how Elijah is going to bring back the children's hearts to the Father. And that's exactly what happened during that time. That's when this truth started to spread. It was because of Abba Bibbins. Now, I'll also say this. Now, there were Israelites before Abba Bibbins. You did have certain Israelites who knew that they went back to Israel when they were in slavery. They had that information, but they weren't used like how Abba was used to bring out this truth, because that's just how the Lord set it up. The Lord, He wanted Elijah to do that job, if you understand what I mean. And yes, you would have to go into different books and different history books to figure that out. But it's specifically talking about Abba Bibbins. Abba Bibbins was the one who did the main work in bringing back the children's hearts to the Father. So I just thought I'd bring that out there. So you would have to read Revelation 12, verse 6 to 14 to figure that out. So now we're gonna go into verse 4 here. These are the two olive trees and two candlesticks standing before the power of the earth. Beautiful. So how could you prove who are the two olive trees and the two candlesticks? Right, so this represents the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom and the prophets. That's what it's talking about here. But how do you prove that? Well, you would have to go into certain precepts. I'm going to start here. This is Psalms chapter 52, verse 8. But I am like a green olive tree in the house of the Most High. I trust in the mercy of the Most High forever and ever. I will praise thee forever, because thou hast done it, and I'll wait on thy name, for it is good before thy saints. So yes, the saints are likened unto a green olive tree. Right? That's a nice green olive tree. And they're going to be the ones that trust in Yahweh B'Shem Yoshai forever. So that the saints represent the elect, and who is a part of the elect? Obviously the prophets. Right? And obviously certain parts of the elect consist of Judah and Ephraim. Right? So Judah really represents the southern kingdom, so that is comprised of what? Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Ephraim, that's the northern kingdom. It's comprised of what? Ephraim all the way down to Issachar. Right? So yes, so southern and northern kingdom. Yes, and that's there. They have the saints. Those are the saints. So this is one precept or scripture you could use. Next one is Jeremiah chapter 11 verse 16, and it says here, Yahweh called thy name a green olive tree, fair and of goodly fruit. With the noise of a great tumult he hath kindled fire upon it, and the branches of it are broken. For Yahweh of armies that planted thee hath pronounced evil against thee, for the evil of the house of Yashar'Allah and of the house of Judah, which they have done against themselves to provoke me to anger, and offering incense unto Baal. You see that? So now you see here, now it's getting specific. It uses the terms of house of Israel and the house of Judah, which Israel represents the northern kingdom, and obviously Judah represents the southern kingdom. So they are that green olive tree. It's talking about those two. And yes, they were fair and of goodly fruit, because a green olive tree, a good tree, a good healthy tree would do what? It would bring forth fruit. Fruit in terms of what? Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And also I believe that goes into, I think it's John the 14th chapter or the 15th chapter. I'm going to pull it up. But if you have fruit, you're supposed to expel your fruit. Right? So that means you're supposed to bear fruit in this thing. When you go out there and teach, you're supposed to have people learn from you, and then they go out there and do what? They teach, and the same cycle continues. So yes, a good healthy tree is going to produce good fruit. Okay, good fruit. All right. So yes, so this is another this is another scripture you could use to prove that we are likened to an olive tree, the house of Judah and Israel. That's another one. Let me get another precept. This is Psalms chapter 1 verse 3. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doth shall prosper. And that's right. And that tree obviously, that olive tree, it represents northern kingdom and southern kingdom, and also the prophets. The prophets, man, they produce fruit too, because they go out there on the highways and byways and they're teaching their people, and they're enlightening them through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yoshai. Right, so it says, verse 4, the ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind driveth away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For Yahweh knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. True. So the Lord, he plants the trees. He sets up the prophet. He sets up Israel to bring forth fruit, right, by the way of the prophets. Now let me see if I can get that. This is John, I think it's John 14. Hold on. Hold on here. Just give me 1 second here. I have to find it. Here we go. So this is John chapter 15 verse 1. I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. That's right. And we know what a husbandman is. A husbandman is a planter, and Yahweh Shai is the true vine, which the vine gives the nutrients, carries the nutrients to the plant, right? It's that vital artery that carries all the nutrients to the leaves and to the branches and things of that nature, right? So he is our lifeline, pretty much. And it says, every branch in me that beareth not fruit he taketh away, and every branch that beareth fruit he purgeth it, that it may bring forth more fruit. So that's what I wanted to bring out. That's what you're supposed to do as a tree. A tree, it bringeth forth fruits. Right? And that fruit represents followers and represents people being enlightened. So that's what a healthy tree would do. A healthy tree would do, or a healthy plant would do. It brings forth fruit. Now, verse 3, now ye are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. So that's what the prophets will be doing. They're going to bear fruit. They're going to enlighten others to come into this thing and serve Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, and they're going to awaken the people to the name of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. So that's what a healthy tree or a healthy plant does. They bring forth fruit. They make things prosperous. Now, let's get another one. This is Ezekiel chapter 31, verse 8. I just thought I'd add this in there because Adam was that tree back then that was the best tree. Right? Yeah, he was actually very beautiful. You know why? Because he had the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. You would have to go back into Genesis, the 2nd chapter, to figure that out too, because the Lord breathed on him, which that breath is the inspiration, which is the truth, him getting the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. That's why it said that he put a man in Eden to dress the garden, which when you go into the word dress, it goes back into the Levitical service, or you can say the Levitical rites too, but it's Levitical service if you want to get technical. That's the actual definition. So it shows that he had the law, statutes, and commandments back then. So that means he was on a high level, and that's why the different trees in the garden, they were jealous of him because he was enlightened and he was very beautiful and powerful. So it says here, Ezekiel chapter 31, verse 8, the cedars in the garden of the Most High could not hide him. The fir trees were not like his boughs, and the chestnut trees were not like his branches, nor any tree in the garden of the Most High was like unto him in his beauty. I have made him fair by the multitude of his branches, so that all the trees of Eden that were in the garden of the Most High envied him. Right? They envied him because he was enlightened, man. He had the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and he was just better. He was made to be better. That's it. Verse 10, therefore, thus saith the Lord power, because thou hast lifted up thyself in height, and he has shot up his top among the thick boughs, and his heart is lifted up in his height. I have therefore delivered him into the hand of the mighty one of the heathen. He shall surely deal with him. I have driven out for his wickedness. Yeah, and we got cut off, Adam, he fell. And that's when we started to degenerate. And that's when sin took over. And that goes into Romans, the 8th chapter, how the creature was subject to vanity, not willingly but unwillingly. And also Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 20, how Israel has become a degenerate plant. But that's all set up for a reason. We were supposed to go through this because we're going to be made into gods. So in order for you to be a god, you have to know both good and evil. Right now we're experiencing the evil. What it's like to be evil. Going through the consequences and repercussions of dabbling into evil. Hey, that's why it tells you, I think that's Isaiah 45 and 7. It says that I, the Most High, create peace and darkness. I create both good and evil. So that's telling you, that's letting you know the God of all gods, which is Yahweh, he knows both good and evil, and we're getting a taste of that. We're going to be made gods real soon. Right? And that's going to be fulfilled in the second covenant when our bodies are changed and we get everything. We're going to know all things. So I hope that makes sense. That's what I have here. These are the precepts that I pulled up to go into Revelation chapter 11, verse 4. Hope this was edifying. If you have any questions, just leave a comment in the comment section. Feel free. Don't be afraid. Whoever's watching out there. So with that, just want to give all praises, glory, and honor due unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone of GMS that do rule well and that do teach well, and that have taught me this truth. To you I say Shalom, and Shalom unto the hopeful elect. Kwame Yashala and Abba Babal.